Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, distinguished faculty, students, parents, guests. This is obviously it's a great honor for me to be conferred with this honorary degree. Being in graduate school here at the University of Toronto was the formative years of my career, and you know, it's times that you just can't forget. The Department of Computer Science, the Computer System Research Group, and then Ron and Lesa's DGP. You know, the faculty and staff and students of that group just opened my eyes to the power and future of computing that is started before my time, if you will, but and has proceeded onto where it is today. DGP in particular was a very unique place, and I believe we were one, if not the very first, one of the very first labs at U of T. This was like 74, 75 era. We were the first to use computers that fit into a broom closet as opposed to into a huge room, maybe the size of this. Computers were downsizing, and you know, of course, today I have in my pocket something more powerful than that room or that broom closet, but still, that was an era that was, you know, promoting, you know, personal computing. It was the start of, we each had our own terminal. We didn't have to, you know, share. We were the radical guys on campus. We didn't use punch cards anymore. It was great to be part of that and part of that whole group. I have to really thank Professor Becker and Les and everybody else who formed DGP. Ron didn't push me. He didn't hurry me. He didn't say, you've got to do this, you've got to do this, you've got to do this. He let me find my own way. He let me learn how to learn how to do my own research, follow my own dreams, and follow my own way and find my own way. And that was one of the most important things that he did for me and the other people as part of that group. The fellow students of DGP were and still are some of my best friends. We were just thrown together in this lab, and we were told to go at it, essentially do what you want to do. I mean, I was supposed to be working on my PhD, but we did a lot of different things. And that was what made it so special. You know, it was like the early form of hacking in a way, you know. We just sat there and worked on some music, and then we worked on some newspaper stuff. We worked on some satellite imagery. We worked on, you know, animation, all sorts of different things. And we learned from each other, and we were like a family. I have to give a big shout out to Bill Buxton here, because he really brought me on he was an office mate, he was a mentor, he was a soulmate, he was just a friend for life. And well, the other thing that Bill did was he answered the call. I say no more. Then I moved on to Lucasfilm and Pixar, and that is such an amazing place, and with amazing group of people and amazing projects to work on for a guy coming out of grad school. You know, we were asked to build technology for the film industry. What does that mean? Well, they hadn't had really new technology since the 20s or 30s, and this was like the early 80s. So the window was open, the door was open, whatever analogy you want to use, go for it. And we were given some great opportunities there. You know, the phone call came in and said, would you like to come work in California for the company that made Star Wars? Wasn't a hard decision, I must admit. My future wife was living in Berkeley at the same time, so there was a double whammy there, and it was perfect. I also want to thank my parents and my brothers who gave me the core foundation, the family values, if you will, that, just ground you in things for life. I'm proud to be a Canadian, for example. Proud to love hockey. Proud to like beer. Sorry. And then a final thank you is to my immediate family. I have 3 kids, or we have 3 kids. And then to my wife, Ricky. They're very special people. Their support, everything they give to me in life is very special. I love you guys. Anyways, onward to you guys. That's my thank yous. What about you students heading out into the big bad world, big scary world of business, careers, life outside the safety of the hallowed halls of University of Toronto? What can I tell you or advise you or help you through that? Probably not much, frankly, but I'll try. Because I'll, experienced a few things, obviously, along the way. And let me try to express some of these things sort of through the eyes of Pixar films, or maybe the eyes of Pixar characters or Pixar themes. It might make it a little bit more fun. I don't know. We'll try. The first thing that I really value in life and in working and success, if you will, is the idea of teamwork. Where would Buzz be without Woody, or Woody would be without Buzz? What about Mike and Sully, or McQueen and Mater, or the circus bugs in A Bug's Life, or whatever? Those are teams of people working together. I mean, the message is the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. I think Aristotle said that, so Pixar didn't invent that idea, but we've certainly mined it many, many times. It just, it's, at Pixar, it's a blend of our art and technology. One side doesn't function without the other, the way we work. The art feeds the technology, and the technology feeds the art. Each of our films is 200, 250 people working together for 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5, 6 years on a film. That's a long time, and so you've got to have a great team. You have great teamwork, between chemistry, et cetera, like that. So I really encourage you to find a situation where you can work with other people to feed off their energies, and they feed off yours, or their ideas or your ideas. It certainly has worked for us. Another theme from the movie Ratatouille is anyone can cook. This is the title of the cookbook that Remy, the little rat used to learn how to cook. And I kind of take away that the message there. I take away the message is that the basics of a lot of things are really attainable. What you have to do is you have to be willing to study and to learn and to try different things. You can't just, wait for things to happen. You have to engage. But, a lot of things are out there, and the important thing is to go after them. I mean, Ratatouille is about a rat who wants to cook in a fancy French restaurant. Kind of a weird, fish out of water kind of story. But it's the lesson. The other lesson there is it's a similar thing, is not to be afraid to dream about what you want to do, and to follow those dreams. Don't be afraid to try different things. You'll be surprised. Don't be afraid to take risks. When back in 1982, we were still at Lucasfilm at the time, this film came into our lab, or into our group, called Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And we were asked to bid on a particular, I think it was like 60-second maybe sequence in that film called The Genesis Effect. I don't know if you've seen the film, but it was just on reruns on HBO the other day. Anyways, and so we were all sitting around a table just talking about this effect, the sequence we had to do. And people were, okay, I'll do this part, I'll do this part, I'll do this part. And you know, there was this part that no one knew how to do, or no one raised their hand or whatever. And I just took a risk there. I said, well, I'll give it a try. And there was the fire segment in that sequence. I had no idea what I was going to do or how I was going to do it or whatever, but I took that risk, and then we started working on things. And, you know, people fed me ideas. I mean, believe me, I didn't, you know, but all together, teamwork again. But this is where particle systems came from. It's probably the thing I'm best known for. Reason I got this thing, maybe, perhaps. I took a risk there, you know, and if it hadn't worked, we'd have found another way, I'm sure, you know, but it certainly was, you know, well worth it in my sense. Another example of this is WALL-E, our film. The first 40 minutes of WALL-E had no dialogue. And for an animated film, sort of meant for families and kids and such, this was like, Disney was going bonk crazy with this. You guys can't do this. This is not, you know, you got to have some dialogue. How are the kids going to follow this? And no, we can tell this story through the animation, through the visuals, through the mechanisms of what we do. And yes, we're going to have dialogue in the end because the humans get in there and screw things up. But in the beginning, we want to show, you know, what it's like on Earth and with this little robot trying to clean up. Another example is Up, where we showed, you know, pretty clearly that Carl's wife died. And it was something that, again, you know, goes against the norm, goes against the flow, the trend in Hollywood, or whatever you call it, about what you put in you know, films like this. But we really wanted to establish what that character, what Carl was feeling, what he had gone through, so that then when he met up with Russell and they went on their adventure, you could really get a feeling for where he had been and where he got to in the end. Final example on this one, I got a lot of examples, taking risks, is Toy Story, in the very first one. And, you know, we got into this film because we just had to, you know, we'd done 4 short films in a row, and it's like, we got to break out, got to go on to the next plateau, if you will. But we really didn't know what we were doing. And we really didn't know what we were getting into in a lot of ways. We went from 5-minute short films to 75-minute film, 1 or 2 characters in our shorts to 20, 30 characters, sets here, there. You know, they had to travel and do all sorts of things. The personal thing that kept me up at night was, would our technology hold together for this extended piece, you know, for this extended amount of time? So, you know, I think taking risks is part of life, and even if, and then the other part of it is, even if your risk fails, you still can learn from those risks, you know, and from the next time, you know, you can make it things. I mean, Pixar's made, you know, a lot of mistakes along the way, as you probably don't know, because we never show them in our films. We always fix them, but it's not like we're perfect in any way like that, nor am I. Another lesson that I thought was interesting to you is know who you are and know who you are not. Put another way, know your strengths and know your weaknesses. You work on your weaknesses, you work, you know, but also work on your strengths. Know your strengths. Know where you can really contribute. My film example is Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc. and Monsters University, in a theater near you in about 3 weeks. I was told. Yeah, that Mike just was passionate to be one of the scare guys. He wanted to be a scary monster. But he was this, 3-foot tall eyeball. And he's just a silly looking guy. And he's just, he's not scary. He is just not scary. Mike, you're not scary. You cannot go out and scare kids to get their energy, right? You're not scary. But Mike is the smartest, and he knows everything about scaring. He knows all the different techniques, all the different, ways of doing this and that and everything. He knows all the tricks. He's a perfect teacher. He's a perfect coach for Sully. That's his strength. And the other personal one for me is I had to learn, as you're at Pixar, I've been there for 30 some years. And the natural trend is to go off into management, right? I think I'm number 2 on the depth chart at Pixar. The natural trend is to go into management, but I realized after trying a couple times, I guess you'd say, that I'm just not a really good manager. And I'm a much better technology guy, if you will. And it's something I had to learn to chart my path in my career. The final lesson or saying I want to throw out at you that I have is, and this one is from Steve Jobs, who was our original investor at Pixar. You know him from Apple, of course, as well. Steve would look at all our films. He would be very involved in our filmmaking. As an advisor, he wouldn't participate. He probably visited about once a week. And he would give notes. He would suggest things or whatever. But his greatest, idea to us or comment to us on every film or on the way we work is he said, make it great. Do not be satisfied if it's not great. And that's what he did with all his work at Apple, as you can tell, for all the different things that they put out. And that's the lesson he taught us, that, if what you have is not great, don't put it out there, I mean, at some point you have to let it go, and that's the other side of it, if you will. But, you don't want mediocrity. Like at Pixar, story rules that if a proposed film doesn't have a good story or has weaknesses, we just don't make it. We just put it on the pile, thanks but no thanks kind of thing, because we get lots of story ideas from everybody in the company. But if the story isn't great, we don't make it. And then if we're working on a film and the story sucks in some way or another, or just wasn't working or whatever, we'll stop production. We'll just say, yep, come on, you guys go work on this other thing over here. Story, get in there and fix this thing. Stories can take 3 to 6 years. We've had films that take 6 years to really come together and to be ready to go out into production. The other thing in terms of making things great is from a technology standpoint, sort of my area, is that we are always trying to push the technology. We're always trying to push ourselves to be better than the last film, and that just makes makes it fun and also makes the films richer. The visual complexities of our films continue to evolve and get better and better as the years go on. So making it great sometimes means that you have to have the guts to admit that something isn't working and to do something about it. The example I want to throw out is Toy Story 2. With about, we'd worked on it for 3 or 4 years, and then with about 6 months to go before it was its release date. And that's one of the things that sort of counteracts our making it great is when you have a release date in Hollywood, you can't miss that release date. When the film is out on June 3rd, whatever, that's a hard and fast deadline, if you will. But we threw out 3/4 of that movie with 6 months to go. Reworked it, came back with about 5 months to go, and just barreled through, but just and it was, believe me, it's a totally different movie and a much better movie. In fact, I think it's better. It's a sequel that's actually better than the original in my book, and it's just an example of how we go about things, and I encourage you to think about that as you go forth. Well, finally, it's been a great honor in addressing you today. I wish you good luck. I wish you great success and much happiness in your careers and in your endeavors. In the immortal words of Buzz Lightyear, to infinity and beyond.